The funeral for little Jazmine Barnes is happening today. She's the 7-year-old girl shot in the head last week while just riding in the car with her family in Houston, Texas. The Harris County Sheriff's Office is holding 20-year-old Eric Black Jr. without bail on charge of capital murder. He confessed to driving the car from which Barnes was shot. Now, another man, Larry Woodruff, is the second suspect and the one who allegedly shot the gun. Woodruff is in custody for a drug possession charge and has not yet been charged in the shooting. Now, the school district that Barnes attended tweeting encouraging students and staff to wear purple in memory of the second grader. Now, part of the reason this case attracted so much national attention is due to the original drawing of the suspect depicted. It showed an older, thin, white man who doesn't match either description of the suspects. So it quickly sparked a discussion about race and violence. However, since the suspects have been arrested, authorities now say the shooting does not appear to be race-related, and the suspects thought they were shooting someone from a rival gang. Now, a tip was received by civil rights activist Shaun King, which led authorities to the men, Black and Woodruff. Now, the white man, initially thought to be the suspect, appears to be an innocent bystander who just fled the scene in fear of what he just witnessed. And basketball legend Shaquille O'Neal helped cover the costs for the funeral. He, along with Houston senior police officer Kenneth Miles, delivered a cashier's check to Barnes's family to pay for her funeral expenses. Now, to expand on these two stories, we're being joined now with editor-at-large for Salon.com, D Watkins. D, thanks for being with us today.
Hey, thank you for having me.
So the funeral for 7-year-old Jazmine Brown happening now. 2 men arrested in connection with her murder. Well, one in connection, the other we're waiting to see. But when the news of her shooting hit the press, the suspect described the man as a white male. However, the 2 arrested are black. How is this possible?
So, I think some of the eyewitnesses, they were in the middle of gunfire,
Yeah.
so like they didn't actually see what happened, but everyone saw this pickup truck that sped away that had this suspect that was supposed to be the 40-something-year-old white guy with the salt and pepper beard. So when Shaun King got the tip and they figured out that wasn't the case, then everything got switched around and they figured out who actually had something to do with the murder. And I think this is a horrible situation, horrible, and it's no good that can come away from this. But one thing I will say is this gives all of us who care about community and care about people to say, you know what, we thought it was a race thing. It wasn't a race thing, right? At the same time, it's horrible. This little girl deserves to be here. And if these guys are the ones who actually did it, then they should never see the light of day again. And,
this appears to be a very sad and simple case of mistaken identity. One of the young men allegedly confessed, the one we saw, Mr. Black Jr. The media seems to have run away with the hate crime narrative, but nobody has walked back those claims now that these 2 guys have been apprehended. Why not? Isn't it important, number one, journalistically to correct the story, but secondly, correct it so it doesn't further divide a nation that's already so racially charged right now?
So I updated my story to actually, the story that I wrote, it was very important to me to do that because I don't want people out there thinking that, oh, well, he's hard on crime if it's a hate crime or if it's like an act of domestic terrorism like Dylan Roof or something like that, right? I'm hard on crime in general. I don't want to see anyone be murdered. Like, I think it's horrible. And I think if you're a good journalist and you believe in the craft, then it's your responsibility to go back and correct that. But I also will say that the reason why people ran with it like this, because it happens so much in this country. There's too many stories where these people are going into places with the intent to scare whole groups of people through acts of terrorism, and they need to be charged as domestic terrorists. I don't care about the situation of these 2 young men who shot that girl. If they are guilty and they did it, I don't care if they come from a broken home. I don't care if they had it, if they had a rough, shaken life. There's nothing that they can say or do to justify their actions. Thinking it was a rival gang, like all of this stuff is just ridiculous. And I would never, ever, ever want to look like a person who would ignore that. to push to be like a race baiter, because that's not gonna enhance social relations.
Right. And I think it's important as journalists to walk back your statements if it was wrong, and very importantly, like you did for your article. So I think that's important, right, especially right now for the societal tensions that we're facing. I want to switch gears a little bit to another race-related story, to Cyntoia Brown. Cyntoia Brown, the Governor Haslam has granted her clemency in the death of a man who bought her in sex trafficking when she was 16 years old. For those who aren't aware of her case, she's now 30 years old. We know this is a big deal for Cyntoia and her supporters, but talk a little bit about what this means for the African-American community.
So for me, I didn't really look at this as a black story. More or less, I looked at it as an example of one, a win for women who are victims of sex trafficking, a big win for people who've been on the wrong side of the criminal justice system, and that's black, white, Asian, that's across the board, and a win for the power of bipartisanship. Governor Haslam is a Republican, and you know a lot of liberal people were fighting for this, and he did what was right. So I think you know, people are so quick to judge, you know, a person like Miss Brown. People, you know, they're not talking about the fact that she was working with young people in jail so that they won't make some of the same mistakes that she made. She was, she got her AA degree, and she was working on her bachelor's, and she was doing all of these positive things, and she was only in jail because she was forced into prostitution at the age of 16, and she was a child. Right. So you could have got killed by this guy who she was convicted of killing, or you would have been killed by your pimp if you didn't go on that mission. So either way, she didn't really have a way out.
So I think survival for her.
Yeah, so I think it was a win for the country. I think everyone should sit back and say, you know what? She shouldn't have been in jail for 15 years,
right.
but,
I think a lot of people
they made it right.
Right. A lot of people thought the book was thrown at her because she was a young, poor black girl, and she was vulnerable. And now, like you said, things have been made right, given a second chance. And we all love those stories, right?
Right.
And we need those right now.
Absolutely.
And where do you see race relations in America right now? And what are your hopes? This is the new year. What's your hope for this year?
So this year, I just hope that everyone in this country understands that we all have a common interest. You know, a lot of us are very different and we come from different places, but at the end of the day, we kind of all want the same things. We want to be loved by our families. We want to fall in love. We want to be successful. You know, we want to experience happiness. And once we key in on that and understand that we have all of these things in common, then we can push towards unity and coming together. We're not as different as we're taught, as people, you know, try to teach us and to make us think we are.
And this being the new year, it's still the first, you know, the first 2 weeks, so I guess we still get to say Happy New Year, and let's hope that things pan out the picture that you're painting for us. I hope so. Thank you so much for spending some time with us to talk about this very important subject. D. Watkins.
Thank you.
Hey YouTube, thanks for checking out our channel. We hope you enjoyed the video. We have tons of content for you just like this. For more of RT America's one-of-a-kind news and analysis, be sure to subscribe and never stop questioning more.